Hey everybody, Z here coming at you live once more with the Power of the Pro Lemon SEO channel. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing on-page SEO, and more specifically, how to effectively use on-page SEO, what it means, how you go about it, and why it's not always a good thing to go towards quality. I mean, quantity over quality. Sorry about that. Now, this over here is just an example. You have a website. This website has 100 pages and not blogs. You upload 4 blogs a week, and you are targeting one specific niche. Okay? Now, this is just to give you an outline of how some websites work. There are going to be things that apply to a lot of websites, but at the same time, there are going to be things about this that only apply to some websites. Okay? For example, most websites are not going to have 100 pages. And what do I mean by that? Well, a page is something that I think remains static most of the time. You go in there, you change a few details, but for the most part, the website is going to remain static. Okay, the page is going to remain static. It doesn't change. You don't go in there, add things. It's just something that usually exists as it is. Pages oftentimes refer to home, to about us, services, um, um, product, these kinds of pages. These are pages that, in general, do not break or change very often. You usually write these once off, you get them as great as possible, and you don't change them again after the fact. Okay? Then we've got blogs, which are, I would say, dynamically added. Basically, these are pages covering specific topics within a niche. For example, if you're a gaming channel, some of the blog topics that you will deal with is going to be stuff like reviews, um, gaming news, um, breakdowns, guides. These are all things that I would say are dynamically generated and come up as things go about. All right, so if this was a gaming website, for example, they might have a homepage, an about us page, contact us page, a services page if they offer services, and then pages that have things like a blog page where all the blogs go to. They might have stuff specifically covering specific things on there. Website pages do not really change. You write them once off, you try and get them as good as possible, and you leave them. You backlink to them, you do guest posts to them. They're the pages that are supposed to attract people to your website naturally. Then you've got um, blog pages. Blog pages are supposed to be a lot more specific in what they're dealing with. Okay, so for example, if we stick to our gaming analogy, let's say you have a gaming website, for example. One page might be specifically about reviews, right? So everywhere that you post a blog that goes towards a topic like gaming, action game reviews or RPG reviews, it goes to that page as well as the general blog page. Okay, so you set that page up specifically to focus on one specific thing. If I had to put it in perspective, um, pages are usually a bit more general, but that link off to everything else. They're the central hubs, the pillars that hold up everything that comes after them or that relies upon them. Okay? So, like I said, homepage, about us page, service page, product page, contact us page, those are all pages. Usually, a website doesn't need to have a lot of them, depending on the niche and their effectiveness. Okay? If you, for example, are just a local bakery and you've got various pages on the types of breads, cakes, and desserts that you make, different types of treats that you make, that's fine. Blog pages, on the other hand, are dynamically added content. These are things that you put there to build up your content repertoire and help build up your reputation within your niche. These are going to be things that are more time specific. For example, if we stick to the gaming reviews, a gaming review for something like the game that comes out in 2018 will always remain there, but they'll fade out of relevancy as time goes on, and you'll see them taper off. Okay, unless somebody is searching for that topic specifically, they're going to be unlikely to find that specific page. Okay, now, how do you do this properly? Okay, now let's say, for example, and I'm going to use an example here from one of our websites. I'm going through an audit of all of our internal websites, and I have found, for example, that we have several pages that cover the same topic, but the views and the impressions and the clicks are being damaged by the fact that there are more. Okay, so in SEO, we have something called cannibalization. Cannibalization, right? I think that's how you spell it. I'm not sure. But we have cannibalization. Basically, we usually refer to this as keywords. If two pages, for example, are targeting the same keyword, they're going to cannibalize each other, meaning that instead of all of you going to one page with high quality content, they might be spread out across several pages and thus lessen the impact of each specific page. Okay, instead of it being direct, like for example, a sniper rifle, it is now instead a shotgun, right? You are hoping to hit something, but only if somebody looks at it a lot more closely. So, how do you do this? Well, for pages, I like to say you want to get these as high quality as possible. What do I mean by that? Well, the spelling is going to be absolutely correct. The images that you use are going to be absolutely correct. Everything you give in there is going to be as detailed, in-depth, and prudent as possible. Everything here is going to be the face of your website. Think of it as putting on the suit and tie of your website. This is where professionality and tone becomes super, super important. While in regards to blogs, this is going to be a bit more freeform, right? So this is where you're going to have multiple people writing specific pieces for the website. For example, if you're a team and you've got 5 different people writing blogs for the website, each blog is going to sound a little bit unique. It's going to have a different feel to it, a different texture. And viewers and that are going to interact with that and feel that on a subconscious level. If I go to a gaming reviews website, for example, and I find 3 different reviewers, one who's got a very formal, very professional, very in-depth breakdown sort of view, one that's a lot more personable, that gives a lot more of their personal thoughts and feelings, and one that's purely educational, telling you the pros and cons and giving you the option to form your own opinion. Depending on how I am as a person, I will most probably prefer, personally, the one that goes a lot more in depth in the discussion and breakdown because I'm a big gamer, while somebody who's just browsing online might prefer something that's a little bit more free form because it's targeting somebody else. So, how do you effectively use this to generate content that goes towards your target audience? You look at the perspective of that target audience, right? The perspective, all right? In this case, you're going to look at the page or the content on there, and you're going to say, okay, I've got 4 different pages, right? Pages this time, that each cover the same topic, right? That each give details that are missing from the other. What's to stop me from taking all 4 of those pages, equaling around, let's say, 4,000 words, and merging them all together into maybe one page, equaling 2,200 words, right? That means that whenever somebody is searching for that topic, instead of getting 4 pages of 1,000 words each, I now have one page where they can get all the information for between 2,200 to 3,000 words, just as an example, right? So if, for example, I'm offering a legal service, um, I can make that legal page as specific as possible to that service. Let's say, for example, I'm talking about civil law, right? Now, within civil law, there are several subcategories. What's to stop me from then taking that one page, going as in depth as possible in an excerpt, maybe 500-600 words per legal service, and then linking off to a blog that goes more in depth with that, right? Or a different page that goes more in depth with that. Instead of having 4 pages just speaking generally about civil law, I've got one page going very specific into civil law, and then multiple sub pages doing more detail into that. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is one of the things that you really got to look at when you're building your website. The intent of the person, the intent of the viewer, the intent of the company. Ensure that you don't have any cannibalization, and ensuring that your pages are as high quality as possible. Ensuring that your blogs, when you're going into something, get hyper specific on that topic and don't try and branch out. If I'm going looking for a recipe to bake pancakes, for example, I don't want to have your life story in that blog. I want to know how to make a pancake, And the quicker I can make a pancake and the happier I am with that, the more likely it is I'll come back to your website to do that. Okay. So it's just one of those things where you want to create a user experience that the end user enjoys in the long term so that they return to you for more information later on. Okay. Guys, I hope this was helpful. I hope this was insightful. This is just one of the things that I like to think about and what I'm thinking about now for a lot of our sites. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below, and I will see you all tomorrow.